We don't take ourselves too seriously. There's a wall of hats in the gym. There's just, things that break the ice immediately.
Yeah, right, okay.
And I think that because of that, it's just like a really safe and welcoming and friendly environment.
Right, on JobsWorth this week, I'm joined by Cassie Strickland and Dominic Foster, personal trainers and co-owners of Leon Seabase's studio. And you're going to force me to pronounce my THs here, Athletica. I struggle with that still. I'm 39 years old and I still struggle with THs. Welcome. Thank you so much for coming down. It's a pleasure to have you. It feels like this has been in the works for a while. Yeah. And now we're finally here, which is always nice. So thank you for giving up your evening. No, it's an absolute pleasure. Are you comfortable being called personal trainers? Because
absolutely,
some people like different labels in the fitness industry, but PT's your...
Try and make it sound fancy.
We
exactly.
are what we are.
They try and dress it up a bit, but PT's is...
PE teacher for adults.
Yeah, there you go. I like that. I think that's good. I should have changed the intro to PE teacher for adults. We are going to start with the opening tradition on the podcast, and Cassie, we're going to start with you.
Oh no. Okay, sure.
When you were younger, what did you want to be when you grew up?
So I'm pretty sure at first that I wanted to be a fire engine.
Okay.
You had that correctly.
Yeah. And then as time progressed, I think I pretty much fancied being a dragon, and then probably settled on vet by the time I was in high school.
Nice.
So
you grounded it more in reality, which is important.
I still have ambitions. I don't think it's beyond the realms of possibility.
To be a fire engine?
Anyone can dream.
Yeah, okay. We don't want to question. That's the whole nature of the podcast, is to allow people to think they can be what they want to be. So fire engine, dragon, and then vet. Mm-hmm. Okay, we've had vet. Never fire engine or dragon.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's
glad
great.
to be the first.
Did you? I have to ask. Did you ever go down the route to do any qualifications around being a vet, or did you?
Fire engine. Yes.
Took my driving license.
Wore a flashy hat. No, I didn't actually. I qualified to do nothing, but I did a history degree.
Okay.
Nothing in any kind of realm towards what I did do or what I planned to do.
Understood. Okay.
But yeah.
Gone in, Dom.
I can't top that.
No, I don't think you can.
So I actually had to ask my mum this because I couldn't remember at all. She said fireman. So this is probably what led us together. And the second one was Spider-Man.
Okay.
So I'm also not in reality as well.
Okay.
And then the actual real one was probably actually like working in a gym. So that was like the first time I probably put like a career like in my head, which was like not till school. So up until then I would go, I think to nursery, maybe dressed as Spider-Man.
Yep.
And then I stopped doing that. And then, eventually progressed on to actually wanting to be something real life.
Okay. I want to ask when you stopped dressing as Spider-Man, because you've left that open-ended, but just nursery. I'm assuming it was a nursery thing.
I hope for my own sake.
We'll call your mum and ask her that question as well. Were either of you sporty as kids? Because it's not always the case. You don't. Like, a lot of PTs aren't sporty kids.
Yeah.
So were you sporty as kids?
I was very much not sporty as a kid.
Okay.
No, I was quite a lazy kid. I was the girl who would always forge a letter for PE all the way through high school, and it wasn't until I was maybe 22. That I actually got into exercise in a proper way. Like I stopped smoking, I stopped drinking, all of that good stuff. Right. Figured out that this was a much better way of living life.
Nice. Okay, because that kind of leans into, I think a lot of people hear personal trainer and like, you must have been sporty, or you must have previously done a sport, and that's led you to try and think of ways to maybe monetize being in gyms and fitness in general. But again, I wasn't unsporty, but I wasn't like the sporty kid. And I just to share this, the podcast isn't about me, but I was a PT for 7 years. So I had experience of doing that, but I definitely fell into the career of being a PT. We'll talk about how you kind of came in to make it your job. Dom, were you sporty as a kid?
I was unbelievably bang average at everything. Okay. So like I was forced to do cross country as like kids do in primary school and secondary school. Like eventually got to the point where like you hate it because you're not very good at it. Okay. And then would play other sports, but to no serious level whatsoever. I would like be the person making up the numbers basically. So absolutely not. The only sport I reckon I would have potentially been good at, if I can say, was basketball.
Right.
Which I actually stopped playing when I started to get tall. And I actually went for trials somewhere that I didn't get into because I wasn't fit enough.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
Then
So
become
you
a
can
personal
really-
trainer.
You can really turn that around.
It's your revenge arc.
Yeah.
So you were getting tall and stopped playing basketball.
Yes.
It sounds counterintuitive
It does,
to the
doesn't it?
sport.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
Okay. That's all right.
Yeah.
That's fine. We go through different phases as well, right? Different sports. Again, I was good at rugby at school, but it's because I was 6'4" at 15, 16 years old. And that was it. And everyone else was like 5'5".
Yeah.
So it was just easy to knock people over. Funny enough, as everyone else gets tall, you realise that maybe you're not so good. It's a levelling. Literally.
I was so bad at sport that they sort of let me and my friends go off and play our own. Am I not meant to say this? Okay.
Carry on now.
Please do. You've opened Pandora's box now. Go for it.
So we weren't really allowed to play with the other kids in high school. We went off and invented our own game in the netball courts that we called netis, which was a cross between netball and tennis, but more probably towards dodgeball with catchphrases.
Cool.
But you didn't have a ball, right?
No, that was so badminton. We also weren't allowed to play with the shuttlecocks because we were that bad. So we had to play conkerminton instead.
What is going on with this?
I warned you as well.
Where did
Didn't
you go? First off, where did you go to school? And it's so against the way kids are taught now, like in a really inclusive way. There's no way that kids are being. And I feel bad in a way, but you're speaking about with a smile on your face, so it doesn't seem to have scarred you at all.
So much fun.
But you're being marginalised and not even given the implements to actually play the sport with.
Yeah. I went to Westcliff as well.
Great.
It wasn't
Okay.
a bad
Well, it's
school.
nice to know that you can be really unsporty, the pair of you, and turn it round, and then there's always a future in personal
revenge arc.
training. I love that story. I love
Everyone
it.
can dream.
And my next question was: did you ever imagine at that age that you could make a living from fitness? Did you even know at school that personal training or working in gyms and getting paid for it, being a PE teacher for adults, was even a thing?
In secondary school, yes, because I was very, very close to being kicked out of school. And this is what led me into personal training, basically, was I think the class stuff come first. So there was a PE teacher of ours who used to take like a load of us to like do what we thought was like weightlifting classes, when looking back, they were like pump classes. So, like the exercise to music classes.
Yes.
So like there's like a group of us that think we're like really cool. Like, we're going to do weightlifting.
You're doing box
We're
steps.
doing
aerobics.
basically we're doing aerobics.
Nice.
But we think that's basically our intro into it.
Right.
And yeah, I was a little shit at school. So my deputy head like had like a meeting with like my parents, like everything. It was like really serious at one point, and was like trying to find something for me to do. I referenced aerobics, which I thought was weightlifting, and then she actually arranged for me to do a day at David Lloyd with a personal trainer, and then from then it was like I just sort of latched onto that, and I was like, I would like to work in a gym and be in my pajamas all day.
I mean, be in your pajamas all day. Did you just say?
That's basically what it feels like, isn't it?
The tracksuit. Okay, yeah. But I think that's great that there was kind of almost an intervention stage at that point, and someone went out of their way to actually do something, because what's the alternative? You actually do get kicked out of school, and then what happens? Okay, there's a higher risk of you becoming a statistic at that stage.
Yep.
A higher risk. I'm not saying it's a certainty,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think that's amazing. So, yeah, your school experiences were interesting, to say the least. It sounds like I need to know more about conkerminton.
I'll give you the rules after.
Yeah, okay, cool. If you can just stick it in an email. I think maybe we can patent that, and it could become a thing.
Absolutely.
You heard it. You heard it here first. Okay. Did you have? So you're both working in the fitness industry now and have done accumulatively for over 20 years. I know it's going to scare both of you, maybe, but yeah, between the pair of you, it's 20 plus years, which is mad. Was there pressure at school, after school, to explore anything else? Did you have your parents, family, friends around you saying, "Oh, why don't you go and explore this? Why don't you go and explore that?" I know, Cassie, you had a slightly different route into fitness.
Yeah.
But yeah, was anyone saying, "Why don't you go and explore this?" Pressure from parents, I guess, is sometimes the case. But.
Yeah, I think my mum's always been really encouraging. So because I was relatively academic at school, and I was like the first in my family to go to university.
Right.
So I think, or to be able to go to university. So I think the idea of not going didn't really cross my mind, because it was an opportunity that I felt like I had to grab with both hands. But I still had no idea what I wanted to do. And I wasn't like a model student. I also dropped out of school and then went back and redid the grades to get to uni. So it kind of felt like the work had been there, so I had to kind of explore something academic. Okay. But the reason I chose history was because I still had no idea what that might look like, and it seemed like it could be something I could transfer to maybe like something with more use later.
Were you good at history? Did you like history? Because again, you can fall into that trap of going to university just to do something you like without really thinking, can I make a living or career doing this?
Absolutely. And I think, to be honest with you, it was more that I liked my history teacher. I had a fantastic history teacher at school. PE was a different story, but I think because I was good at it, I was interested in it, but I genuinely had no kind of thought to go into it as a career opportunity.
Because you started PTing in 2012.
Yes,
is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've been doing it 14 years now.
Oh my gosh.
Nearly 15 years.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just dating everyone now.
No, that's cool.
But 15 years. So I mean, it's an amazing time, because so many people might have burnt out or just decided to leave the industry in that time. But 14 years, there were a couple of jobs before the lead up, but it seems like the bulk of your adult career has been in the fitness industry, which is amazing. Dom, any pressure for you, or it sounds like you landed on gyms, fitness, PT. I mean, David Lloyd's not a bad gym to get into and experience that setting. There are definitely.
Yeah, no, I think mine was that just all the time. That was the only thing I basically wanted to do, because it was like the first thing I latched onto. Okay. And I don't think I had any pressure from like parents or anything like that, because it was like, they could see it was something I actually like enjoyed or like wanted to do. So it was the only thing that would like get me to focus at school or anything like that. It was the thing that kept me basically, I don't want to go extreme and say kept me in school, because I think I would have been fine, but it was the only thing that gave me like direction to get through school, then to go to college, then to like find something I wanted to do. So yeah, I wouldn't say I had any other pressure other than that. No.
Okay. When you say you were a shit at school, how did that manifest itself?
So,
what was your experience at school?
Yeah, so I don't think I was like, like one of those kids like setting fires and stuff like that.
Yeah, I had a few of them in my school.
Who like everyone hates. Yeah. I was just probably like mildly irritating across the board. Okay. So probably just a bit of a clown, basically. Yeah. And then because like typically you probably hear stories of it all the time, like I didn't know what I wanted to do, like leading like up until this point anyway. Like I just didn't, like typical kids like, oh, I don't want to do this, so I don't see the point, basically. So it was more so that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope.
So you weren't an arsonist.
Yeah. No fires were set.
No fires were set. But it was more, because we talk a lot about school with people that come on a podcast, and maybe the environment, being asked to sit in a room and being spoken at it just doesn't appeal to everyone. It's not the way people's brains are working. We're kind of forced to fit into a framework that doesn't work for everyone. So maybe that, I'm not therapizing.
Give me the out, I'll take it. Yeah.
But it sounds like that, because then you change the environment, you go into the gym, and all of a sudden you're engaged and you're feeling a desire to actually go and do something.
Yeah. I hope that's the case anyway.
Yeah, of course. Well, look, you've been doing it long enough now for that. It seems to have aligned. Do you feel like personal training has gained a bit of a reputation for a career that you fall into? It was my experience, but do you think that's a fair?
I think you basically will get people that go to the gym, enjoy working out, and then go, oh, I can do this as a career.
That's completely why I did it.
But then like most people soon realise that's not actually the case. You end up hating being in the gym more, right? Because you spend so much time in there. So that's how most people go into it, I think, anyway. Yeah. And like the barrier to get into it is so easy as well, which I think is really, you tell me if I'm wrong, quite similar to recruitment. In the sense that the barrier to entry is quite low, right? So like you can get into it, but it's so hard to stay in it.
Well, I wanted to ask if that's changed, because again, my PT qualification was with the YMCA and I was 19 years old, Tottenham Court Road, 10 weeks of training, and then it was every other week was in a gym. I think you could probably do a PT course now where you never had to set foot in a gym and do that distance learning as well. So I don't get the impression that the barrier to entry's got higher.
Probably got worse, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a fair reputation to say that at least generally speaking, it feels like a lot of people could fall into that career. Whether you stick it out or not, and we talked about how long you've both been doing it, is different. But
Totally.
how do you feel about that barrier to entry being so low when you guys obviously commit to a level of work and...
Do you know what? I think it's a good natural filter. I think it's good that there are some careers that somebody can do without having to be super academic, or without having loads of money to pour into courses, or loads of time to commit to training when maybe they've got other like life responsibilities. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's good that it's easy to get into. But I think that it has like natural filter of like, if you don't genuinely love helping other people, you will not last in the industry. And I think that's also kind of a really poetic thing about it. The people that go into it because they love working out will soon find that the last thing on your priority list at the end of the day is working out. And the people that do it kind of for ego reasons, or, you know, because it's an easy life. It's not. You don't earn a ton of money. You don't get to work out all day, every day. You have to, like, most of the time you're being part therapist and you know. And I think that if you don't love people, you won't last long. So the barrier to entry isn't really an issue. I think it's like what happens after that really sets in stone.
I think that's a really good point. Yeah, my experience was I finished college after getting A levels. I could have gone to university, and my stepdad said to me, "You like going to the gym? Why don't you become a personal trainer?" Yeah. And I just said yes, and that was it. And that was the next 7, 8 years of my life was that. The reason I fell out of love with it, it spanned really not from 19 to, let's say, 26. I mean, I wasn't living the lifestyle that PTs, again, on the face of it, have to commit to, or do commit to kind of really... Well, you can tell me, actually, because I think Instagram paints, if you're a PT, you have to get the diet on point. You have to get your sleep on point. You know, there's all sorts of metrics we can gauge the success of a PT now and what optimal health looks like.
Yeah.
I get the impression from you two that you don't adhere to all of that.
I think it depends who your demographic is. I think if you are someone that is like prepping people for bodybuilding shows, you probably have to like walk the walk a little bit, right? Because like you're going to need people to buy into what you're trying to sell. But I think because the people we tend to train are people who are not like that at all. Like the type of people we train are people that typically don't like going to like normal gyms. So I feel like I don't think personal trainers need to be in like incredible shape to do the job. I just think you kind of have to look, I don't want to say like aspirational to your clients, but like maybe like the step beyond what your client is, so they can still like respect you enough to take what you're saying seriously, more so than... It's credible, isn't it? You have to come across as credible, and part of that is aesthetic, part of that is the behaviours, the way you speak, the way you act. Because again, if you're saying something to a client and then fucking off and not kind of living those values that you're trying to put out there, different people have different goals as well, right?
Yeah, my coach puts it a really great way. He says you have to eat at your own restaurant. Like if you're selling something that you aren't buying, it's probably bullshit, right? Yeah. So like I love that phrase, and that's kind of like the integrity I think you have to have. Like even if you're not somebody who sells aesthetic training, but you're, let's say, like you're a performance coach for strength, if you've never lifted, you can't know what it's like. So you have to eat at your own restaurant.
Yeah, for sure. I think it was a disconnect with that made me just go, I can't keep doing this. I used to teach a boot camp, and I never ran the steps that I was asking people to do.
Brilliant.
I'd stand at the bottom and really embody the boot camp instructor.
Just shout.
Never once in however many years I was doing it did I run those steps. And if I did, I'd probably have died. So I'm expecting all these people to do it. Anyway, that was my exit out of the industry. What was your experience early on gaining experience in gyms? Because you both talk about environments that you worked in, that you were under other people's vision and values, and then not necessarily aligning with yours, but you got to go through it to learn that, right?
For sure.
So, Cassie, what was your experience of gyms and the environments you were working in early doors?
So looking back now, I think I had quite a privileged and unusual entry into the world, because most people, I think, come up through commercial gyms, and they kind of have that environment of like a very gymmy environment. I didn't. I started in people's homes and then in like private studios. So although I kind of had a clear idea by the end of what I wanted from my own sort of working environment, like I never had to deal with the like commercial gym life.
Right.
So I was really lucky in that way. So I always worked in like small spaces with sort of fewer people in them, which suits me so much better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, because again, I'm thinking of experience of like Fitness First.
Yeah.
I'm just going to name the gym chains.
Yeah.
We're looking for a sponsor.
Yeah.
That's why we can't say too much shit about the gym chains.
Yeah,
no, but Fitness First,
Yeah.
like Virgin Active,
Yeah.
David Lloyd, all of these like bigger, more recognised names. Dom, what was?
Yeah, so mine,
David Lloyd.
literally like, so David Lloyd was basically, I did like one day there basically with like a personal trainer.
But that set the seed to
and
go
then
down.
my first actual job was in a gym called Fitness for Less at the time, and my actual entry to it was as a receptionist, because I couldn't get, like, basically back then you actually still had employed roles in gyms, whereas now you don't really. So
a lot of people are self-employed and they go in
so
on
like
their
you
own.
normally are self-employed, you pay rent to the gym and that's it, whereas I did not feel ready for that at all, going back to how bad the level 3 qualification is.
How old were you?
I reckon maybe 19.
Okay.
I think. So it was after college. So yeah, around that sort of time. As a receptionist, was qualified as a coach, but just did not feel ready for it at all. Like begged the guy for a job, finally gave me a job, sat in reception for weeks. And then I think I dropped in that I was like qualified to teach spin, because that used to be like the big thing. Can you imagine? Yeah. And I then started teaching classes there, spin being one of them. And looking back on that, oh my God, like the thought of doing that now.
Why are we saying it? Is because you're shit on a bike? Or is it just, spin like, used to be the thing?
So spin, like back then, makes me feel so old. Like spin was like the thing that all gyms were doing. Like it was like the big thing. Like it was the thing that was like making all gyms busy. They were all like, all the classes were always busy. So I knew if I was qualified in it, that I would hopefully be able to get a job in a gym. So I basically started in like a budget gym, did the whole commercial route, was a spin instructor, absolutely hated every second of it. And yeah, so I feel like my route was like commercial gym, did move to a private gym that was absolutely horrendous.
Okay. Say more.
Honestly, some of the stories from that place. So I won't go into too much detail, but like it was run by someone who was essentially a criminal. Right. So you'd basically turn up, like sometimes the gym would be closed, sometimes it would be open, you'd have no idea. I'd go there on like a Friday night and they would do this thing where they would turn like all the lights off and put like a disco ball on. And
sounds fucking dangerous. From a health and safety perspective, that's
so I would turn up and be like the
101.
party pooper and go, can we just like maybe turn some lights on? I've got like Doris here who like just come in for a quick strength session, right? Yeah. And then everyone like basically kicking off at you for being the party pooper almost. Yeah. So yeah, horrendously run. Lots of lessons how not to do things. And I remember there like was there for a little while, and I remember getting a phone call from someone else who owned a gym saying, did you know the gym's up for sale? And I was like, okay.
The gym you were working at?
Yeah, so again, the guy just basically had put up for sale, also didn't have to use all that stuff. Right. So then went to another commercial gym that was like independently run, which was a lot of better story,
right?
Should we say? So yeah, I feel like my route was maybe more like typical.
Okay, because what I was going to ask you is what did you learn from those experiences that helped shape what Athletica is today?
Yeah.
Don't put a disco ball
Don't put a disco ball
and
in.
keep the bloody lights on. Rule one. But what was collectively, what did you learn from those experiences? Cassie, it sounds like you had a pretty good run in. If I'm honest, that sounds really nice.
I was really lucky.
Maybe you cherry pick the nice parts of that rather than feel like there's bits that I want to avoid that completely.
Yeah.
But there was a vision that you had that didn't quite align with what you were experiencing, or more that you just wanted to do your own thing?
I think think a little bit of both. Like I wanted to cherry pick the nicest parts of training and kind of leave the parts that maybe didn't resonate with me so much behind. So like I worked in some gyms or studios, I should say, that I absolutely adored, and then some that maybe I didn't feel as like comfortable working in. So like, and it was just really like small things, but when I was kind of thinking about my like need to have and nice to have lists of where I wanted to work, silly things like having daylight was really important to me, and like fresh air, because a lot of gyms are obviously in like either commercial units that are just aircon and like painted, or they're, you know, I worked in one, it was a great gym, but it's underground, and I would come up blinking into the sunlight after every single shift, like not knowing whether it was summer or winter. So like, I think for me, more so like I was lucky enough to be able to take some of the best things about the industry and kind of put those things that, in my opinion, all worked together into like a little ball and take them with me.
Yeah, nice. I love that. Because if you think holistically, natural light as part of where you're training is kind of key, isn't it? For us as humans, I think that's such a key part. And also, most commercial gyms are just aircon swirling the same.
Totally.
Bright
Which
light.
is fine, I think, if you're in there for an hour and you're doing your training and leaving, but it's more so for the coaches. Like,
yeah, of course.
And you're not going to be able to deliver like quality, like best.
It's a very artificial environment a lot of the time, isn't it? I think.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And what about you, Dom? It sounds like there was more for you to kind of
The
lean
opposite,
on and go,
right? So, like,
I can't
don't
do that.
worry, there's some of the places I worked are amazing, but a lot of mine was probably based off the things that I didn't want. So like just things like how some of those gyms would I don't want to say make people feel when they came in, but a lot of the thing that people struggle with in commercial gyms is like not feeling comfortable there, basically. So all the things around that type of thing.
So making it more inclusive. I'm going to quote a word that I saw, and I'm sure it was on your website or on your Instagram. Gym-timidation.
Yeah.
I don't know. I saw that. And we'll go back to that in a second.
Okay.
But gym-timidation, which is quite hard to say if you try and say it quickly.
Yeah.
But that I thought that was a perfect way of doing it, because you're trying to overcome that feeling that so many people have, which is, I can't go to the gym because people are. You half the time you're in your own head, aren't you? About the way you look, the way you feel. I'm not going to be able to do the things that other people do.
Stories as well. Like so many people, like the stories we'll hear from clients about like how close they were to just not walking. I always remember one in the last gym I worked at before I come to Athletica, of him saying to me, like months in after he'd actually started, I remember him saying that he was driving into the car park and he genuinely said to himself, if there was like no space, like as in he had to wait to park somewhere, he'd have just gone home. Like, so like it's so close for people to like not go, and how different it would have been if he didn't is mental to me. Like, and
it is hard to empathise with that if you have been in gyms for a long time. I think the entry point when you start going to the gym matters. So if you're doing it a little bit later down the road instead of in your teens, your early 20s, it becomes a different thing. But trying to address that fear factor around walking into a space and not feeling immediately judged.
Yes.
Or if you're judging yourself, trying to get rid of those thoughts as soon as possible. But that's it. We'll go on to talk about what you've built, but it definitely seems like you're addressing that, which is lovely. Again, you can't get into people's heads and make them feel something that they've, you're not therapists, although I'm sure you've got that hat.
God, yeah.
Right. So wanting to build a gym from working in fitness, working in gyms is a very different thing, isn't it? Because this is your thing. This is your building. This is your environment. This is your thing that you're trying to build. It wasn't smooth sailing, Cassie, was it? I think that's fair to say. Finding a space. So again, we could go all the way back through your career, and I know you worked out in Singapore as well, what an incredible experience. But I want to kind of bring it through now to the process, the reality, especially in Lee, of finding a physical premises. So can you tell me a little bit about that story of having the vision for Athletica? Was it called
It wasn't called Athletica to start with, actually. No, so again, I won't harp on about it, but I worked in a really cool space when I was in Singapore. And when we came back to the UK, and I was working in equally cool spaces, but I just kept thinking, like, if there was ever an opportunity for me to have my own space, I would want it to be like that. And again, it was kind of more to do with like the layout of it was really cool, and there was like a big window, so people couldn't look in necessarily, but it was so like bright and airy. And I'd never really worked in a fitness space that had that kind of feeling. It was just warm and welcoming and lovely, but the training was super serious. So I thought, well, like maybe I'll try like a shopfront kind of studio, which I did manage to find, and it was a beautiful, I think it used to be a gallery. And I saw that there was a sign that it was up for rent, and I knocked next door to a space that you know well. And I asked the lady who owned that space, like, if she knew of the landlady's details, and she put me in touch. And we ended up going into this gallery space, which was it was this beautiful, like, light, airy space. It had this gorgeous window at the back where you could see trees, and it was like, it looked fantastic.
So it really lined up with your vision of what that space could be.
Absolutely, yeah. So we went ahead with it, and we bought and loaded up all of the equipment, laid all the flooring. I did it all myself, and like my husband, and recruited a few friends to help me. But yeah, we had, like, the budget was tight. It was my life savings, which was not very much, and then some help. And for about a month, we headed in and we started training there. And then one day we had an email, and it said, like, we need to chat about the noise. And I thought, well, that's really strange, because we've not really made any noise.
Getting noisy yet.
Like, we're just getting started here. Anyway, I will make a really long story really short. But it turned out that the space next door had a basement that actually ran underneath my studio, and it was used as a co-working space, which you know.
I also know that, yeah.
And
I'm just going to say, I wasn't down in that space.
Okay.
It was not me that wrote that email.
Do you know what? It would have been fair enough, because even so, I as you do, you think, oh, maybe that's a bit dramatic, like, we'll test it out. So one day late at night, I had a few people up in the space making noise, and I went underneath, and it was honestly like being inside of a drum. And not just like weights either, like anybody who stepped on the floor. And bear in mind, we knew that noise in a residential area was going to be a thing, so we had it noise rated. Just
for neighbours, let alone people literally beneath your feet.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Which, the secret basement that nobody knew about. So we had like rubber matting that was about sort of this thick. And even that, like, people walking on the floor, you could hear underneath.
So in knowing that, you've got your dream space, and I'm sorry to ask you to recount that, but it's the reality, because you go into that and you're like, oh, my life savings in doing it, we've started something now, this is the physical embodiment of what's been in my head. And just that feeling of shit, like your heart must, or your stomach must turn, your heart must sink. Like, what did that feel like at that time? Is that your first test of, I mean, you've got to have resilience, haven't you?
Yeah, for sure.
How did that actually feel?
To be honest, I think the best word I can use is I was humiliated. Right. Like, I had put myself out there. Like, I'm not like very good at selling myself, and it was the first time really that I'd had to. Like, all of my PT up until that point, I was super lucky. I'd had like word of mouth referrals. I'd never really had to advertise. Like, I was very, very lucky up until that point. And then all of a sudden I was like, no, I will put myself out there. I will advertise. I will try and get this thing off the ground. And I felt humiliated. Like, I was really vulnerable at that point. And the other thing was the people who I had promised this space to as somewhere to run their businesses. So I felt this huge like disappointment on their behalf, and like this massive responsibility to fix the problem.
That's a really interesting point, and you alluded to it as well. Gyms now are usually housing a number of freelance trainers that are paying you rent to do that. So they are operating businesses in your space, and that may be something that some people don't realise about the fitness industry. You're not employing everyone.
No.
You're giving them a chance to run their businesses in there as well.
Yeah, and they had trusted me to, create this space for them to do that out of. So I had my livelihood, their livelihoods, all of the money, all of the sort of exposure, all on the line.
It's a lot of weight. It's a lot of weight on your shoulders.
Quite literally.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that obviously forced you to leave that space,
It did,
and that led to the founding of the space that you're in now.
It did.
Which, it's such a cliche, shitty thing to say, but it all happens for a reason, right?
Totally. And to be honest, the space that we have now is so much better, has so much more potential. It happened well, and I'm glad that it happened. And there's a really beautiful hair studio in there now, which suits the space so much better.
Yeah.
So nothing about it has long-lasting effects aside from one, but
Right.
which is just that moving the equipment out of that studio, I slipped 3 discs in my back, which was really then quite tough to carry on working as a PT.
Oh my God, talk about adding insult to injury as well.
Yeah.
So not only have you got this space, you're moving out of the space and then you slip through this.
Yeah.
Did you bend your knees and keep your back straight?
You know what? I must have not done that at that
remember
point.
one time.
Yeah? Go on. I should have had you there with me.
Just that one time. Okay, so let's bring it back because Dom, at this stage, you're in the industry.
Yeah.
You're working around some interesting places.
Yeah.
You said on your form, I ask everyone to fill in a form before they come on the podcast. You said that you'd had visions or thoughts about opening and building your own space. So how close did that come to happening?
So I was looking at somewhere in Fort Bay that actually now is a personal training studio. So basically, I was working at a place I don't want to say I wasn't happy with, but I wasn't happy with the way, the route it was going. And I was constantly just moaning about stuff, whether that's internally, externally. And I thought I could either just carry on being a drain on anyone or everyone, or just go and look to do something myself, which I'd wanted to do for the previous 2 or 3 years since then.
Do you think it's almost a natural thing to want as a PT? Not everyone wants it, I guess, but do you feel like it's a path that a lot of people go down?
I feel like there's 2, people either go to open their own space or just move online.
Okay. Online coaching and stuff. Yeah.
Is big. And then obviously probably go on to COVID, and that was huge then.
Yeah, real shift, yeah.
But I never really wanted to do that for all the reasons I mentioned earlier. You would end up just giving yourself a desk job again. So I was looking for somewhere, found somewhere that I thought would be really good. It was a basement as well, funny you say that. But then I think I looked at the I don't want to say the netis, is it? The structural stuff.
Right.
I don't know what you'd call it, but basically it had a really bad problem with flooding. So I just completely left it.
Yeah, which in a basement.
Sorry to the guys that are in there now. I don't know if that's everything. So that's basically as close as I got. And then basically what led me to come to you was I couldn't find anywhere, and I was unhappy where I was. So I was like, the next best thing to do was to try and find somewhere as close to what I would want to open
with your
as
vision
possible.
Yeah.
And then that's when I just turned up, or messaged you, or probably rang you, and you was like, and then just came down, looked at the place, and I was like, basically, if I was to create my own studio, I would do exactly what you've done.
Nice.
And then I basically come on board around COVID time, so I had all that to deal with. But
I was going to say, I really want you to say the rest is history, but obviously there's so much. There's so much in that. Yeah, I mean,
there was a journey.
Yeah, I remember when we sat down for a coffee ahead of this, we talked about COVID and the proximity to you joining and you getting into that space, and then COVID hitting, and then look, that's another blow, isn't it? At that point,
it was right after. I think you could kick it all out, and then it literally shut.
Yeah.
A few months later. January to March, I think it was.
You can laugh about it now.
I can laugh about it now. No, looking back, it was quite the thing. So one of the other gyms in the area had really kindly let me train my clients out of their space while I was still looking. And this was around February 2020.
And
yes. And I obviously was looking for other spaces, and we found this really quirky building, which I'd always said, like, if something came up in this building, I would love to look at it. But the room was filthy. Like, it had been disused, not even used for storage, for about 30 years. And there were grates on the window. And I remember saying to my husband at the time, I was like, this looks like a prison cell. Like, if I have to work here, I won't last long. Like, this isn't going to happen. And but it was available. It was the space. I had made promises, and it was there. So I said, do you know what? I will go for it. Signed on the dotted line, deposit paid. And I think it was maybe that same week that we went into lockdown.
I mean, I don't want to dwell. Fuck. Like, poor Cassie. I mean, like, come on. No, but it is. Like, I don't want to be patronising, but what a thing. Like, the roller coaster analogy keeps coming into my head. But what a feeling and what a thing. And we won't dwell on it. Like, I speak about, I feel like people tune out when you say COVID, but it's such a pivotal part. Any business that started in that time was affected and impacted. And I do think, though, the resilience that was born through that, if you were running a business and came out the other side, like, you earn something in that. In that moment, you earn some level of something. Yeah. But if there's awards or badges being given out, you got a few of them. Like, you're doing all right.
Well, so. My brownie sash is full.
It's full. It's brimming at the moment, isn't it? I mean, that's crazy to think that you went through that as well. You said something really interesting on your form. I just wanted to circle back to. Yeah. You said you had a deadline.
Oh, yeah.
About when you wanted your own space.
Yeah.
Why did you have a deadline?
I think, like, similar to what Dom was saying, like, there isn't much career progression in PT. Like, you can fill your diary, and once that diary is full, like, there's nowhere really else to go. So you either get out of the industry, or you go online, or you think about, like, how to like progress your own career. And I think for me, like, I'm too old. Online wasn't really a thing then. The internet. So online wasn't really it hadn't really taken off yet. And you know, I was working in somebody else's space, which again was like, it was a gorgeous space. It was lovely. The gym was great. I had really good colleagues, but I just kept thinking, like, I don't want to be X amount of years and still be working in somebody else's gym. It just didn't feel like I'm not a super ambitious person, but I'm also not one to, like, totally rest on.
Without pressing too much, I'm interested in the age that you had in your head.
It was 40.
40.
Yeah. Okay. I thought I didn't want to be 40 and still be, like, just a PT in somebody else's gym.
It's interesting.
I'm not 40.
Right.
Not yet.
That's not what we're saying.
I beat it.
But I think that's really interesting that we have these decade milestones. I'm 40 in October, and we have these milestones that impact us in a different way. Like, 30 comes with a very different feeling to what 40 does, in my experience at least. But I thought you were going to say 40.
Really?
Yeah. So it's just weird that we have these kind of self-imposed deadlines, which are based on something, aren't they?
Yeah.
But you beat it, so it doesn't matter. Okay, how big a decision? Because now you're business partners, right? So you co-own the space. How big a decision, Cassie, after having the space, was it to bring Dom in? Because it's a decision. I hope you don't mind me raising that. Because again, I guess you could say, look, Dom, happy for you to work. You could work here, and that's fine. But what about the partnership? How big a decision was that?
So, not to be too cheesy, but it wasn't really a decision at all. Like, I'd been running the space as it was, just that small room, which doesn't look like a prison cell anymore. We made it beautiful.
That's not how you're selling it. Yeah. Come into the prison cell.
No, that was the silver lining of COVID, was it gave me time to transform the space. So it was beautiful space, but we were working in it together. And Dom had asked me for a coffee at one point. So we went for this coffee, and Dom asked me, like, what tips I had for starting, like, a place of my own. Like, how did I go about it? What was the kind of, like, you know, financials and the planning? And I was like, oh no, I'm going to lose this guy. Like this is, like, I didn't want him to go anywhere else. So I was racking my brains and I was like, oh man, like I don't want to have to find another PT. Like I'm not going to find another one like him. So we sort of like sat on that. And it, again, like, I don't know why the universe keeps doing this, but I think it was about that same week. Our landlord came to me and just said, oh, hey, the space next door is coming up. Like, do you fancy taking that on as well? And this space had previously been attached, but we'd bricked it up. And it was just being used as storage. And I was like, oh, okay, here's an idea. Because I didn't want to go through that process again by myself. I was so scarred. But the space was small. We couldn't really expand. And again, like there was a ceiling to anything that we could do with it, which meant that there was a ceiling again to this like vision that I had of having my own space. Like it couldn't really be what it could have been.
Right.
So I came to Dom and I said, do you want to have a look? And if it's viable, do you want to do this together rather than you go off and set up your own thing? Like, would you be comfortable coming in with me instead? And the rest is now history.
Yes, come on, love that. We can end the podcast. That's brilliant. Was it an easy decision to say yes?
Absolutely.
No friction.
Absolutely.
For you.
It'd be silly not to, because like I said, I was looking previously in a like completely different area, and then when I found the space, as I said previously, it's basically what I would have built on my own. I think like we work very well together because of our strengths and weaknesses are the complete opposite. No brainer.
I have to touch upon the strengths and weaknesses thing. Have you got an issue with people calling you on the phone?
Oh,
yeah. Because no, it's only because you said that. I'm a recruiter. I don't like people calling me on the phone. You imagine how debilitating that is as in a job where you're supposed to be on the phone all the time.
But I look back, I think back to when I was coming over and when I would just like, I'm not someone who enjoys speaking on the phone either.
Okay.
But like I would just ring you. And like looking back now, thinking how uncomfortable she was with me saying about like coming down to look at the space and stuff like that was amazing. So
did it come across?
Probably not all the time.
Nice.
But now in hindsight, brilliant.
Now you know. The inner workings. But I think that's the nice thing about having a business partner. We had Kane and Dan on that run 5 Physio, and they've got their own lanes. They, Dan seems to be much more the business development and sales, although an amazing physio, and Kane is more around the practice development and training up the physios, and that works. You find your strengths and your weaknesses, and you play to that, and that's how successful business partnerships are made. I've heard.
Yeah,
I work on my own.
All the strengths,
Only the strengths. So. You've had all of these experiences working in various types of gyms. As I said, over 20 years experience between you. Don't want to keep harping on, but it's a long time. What is it about Athletica and what you've built that's different? And I'm not asking for you to pitch it to me. I'm just like, what are the things you're proud of it being different for?
I think just the type of people that we train. Like we always say, it feels like we train like the misfits of Lee.
The misfits of Lee.
Like I suppose, it has bred that type of client because I think we genuinely think about, as we alluded to earlier, like what it's like for people to come into the gym for the first time. So like how people are greeted, like what it's like when they come in and stuff like that. So I would say personally, I would say that. I don't know if you agree. That being front of mind, so that people don't feel uncomfortable coming into what is quite an uncomfortable environment for someone who's never been in one before. So
it's that experience for the clients and the people that are using that space that come in. And
I think that was actually fairly organic. Like when we didn't sort of set out with that vision, we just built a space that's really homely.
And too homely for some people.
I never leave.
But there's no mirrors in the studio, for example, and it's got a really we care about things like the lighting and the music, and it's not like we're not trying to create somewhere that is like too soft. Like you go there for serious training, but at the same time, like somebody is not going to be too worried about the environment to actually do what they're there to do. So kind of organically, we tended to pick up people who wouldn't find themselves in like in normal commercial gyms. And so we've kind of like, yeah, we've learned, and you know, we don't take ourselves too seriously. You know, there's a wall of hats in the gym. There's just, you know, things that break the ice immediately.
Right, okay.
And I think that because of that, it's just like it's a really safe and welcoming and friendly environment.
It's really interesting you say you don't take yourself too seriously, because the fitness industry does.
Oh yeah.
As a generalisation, the fitness industry
it's quite
does.
boring, isn't it? Yeah,
It's so boring.
I mean, it's a lot of virtue signalling. There's a lot of like, you have to embody all these things, which again, we've talked about. There's definitely an element of that. You have to kind of, your own business card, and you have to back it up. But at the same time, like, come on. It's all right.
Yeah.
Like, you can still have a laugh, and people are human beings wanting to connect with human beings. I would imagine the reason you built the client base you've got is because you act as your own filter.
Yeah.
You're not going to appeal to everyone, which is
absolutely,
which is perfect.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to appeal to everyone, because if you did, you'd be under pressure to become more of a mainstream commercial
we just
gym.
sat down that time, wasn't it? We're like, we started to notice the trend of like the type of people that were coming in. And then we sat down, didn't we, at the end of one year, we did like a little wrap up, and we just sort of like wrote a list of like our ideal clients, like the type of people, and then realised what we had started to do. And then we sort of started to double down on it, and obviously make it more of our thing.
Lean into it a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah.
So like, but we never did it like, we didn't do it on purpose, did we? Yeah.
No.
We're just weirdos and attract some
I love
weirdos.
it. We're all weirdos. That's the thing. And if you can embrace that, then great. You'll attract other weirdos.
Yeah.
Gym-timidation.
Who coined that? Did you see it somewhere else? Did you make it
I
up?
will say that is definitely SEO lady. So I will not take credit for it. Neither of us can. Playing the Google game.
Yeah.
But how do you? So obviously you can see what it means. But how? I guess I was about to ask, how do you address that? But you have talked about that in the environment you've built, in your empathy for understanding that people are going to feel a certain way coming into a space.
It was, you'll remember this. One of my clients mentioned, because we do a thing where we dress up when it's someone's birthday.
I've seen that.
Right. So, and then he actually made a really good point. He was basically saying no one could ever feel uncomfortable coming in here, because no one will look more like out of place or stupid than you do. And we was like, that's completely true.
You're
like,
taking number one spot.
Yeah. So like
away,
on a Friday, if it's someone's birthday, they have a work birthday, that we get to dress them up.
Amazing.
In whatever we want.
What
and every year it gets worse.
Amazing.
To the point where like we'll have clients that come in now and they don't even like bat an eyelid to it. They're like, oh, happy birthday. Nice. And someone's dressed up as like a squirrel or something.
Why not?
So like, but again, like we see that as a joke, but then him making the point is like really true, right? Like if someone comes in, they're really uncomfortable about what they look like, and then you're dressed as a pigeon, like they're going to be okay, like unless they've dressed as a pigeon as well. Yeah.
Embarrassing.
They've just done it off their own back, though.
Which is amazing.
Yeah. That's the level of weirdo we're talking about. They come in dressed as a pigeon. Has a dragon ever come up?
Not yet.
Come on, Cassie. We need to make this work.
I don't get to choose these things.
We're running out. We've gone a few rotations now, so we're proper clutching. So we'll have to bank those.
Cool. But there is like a period of the year where it's someone's birthday almost every Friday.
Has social media been a help or a hindrance to inclusivity in the fitness industry, do you think?
Ooh, that's
probably
a good
both,
question.
I reckon.
Yeah. I think it depends. If it's it's like any power, it can be used for good or evil.
Yeah, I think for some, it's, when I say both, because you'll look at some like Instagram reels of like places where to go to a gym, you feel like you need to be in a matching outfit, have your makeup done, have your hair done, stuff like that. So on that side, I don't think it's been helpful at all. But on the other side, you probably do get to see more of like the inside of what gyms look like more. So for example, if you've got someone that would never think about stepping inside a gym because their normal entry to it would be driving up to it and going in it, they can now like, because people put all of their like stuff on social media of like what it looks like. Doors. Yeah. So like you can get a good idea of like, it depends on the gym, like who works there, what the gym layout looks like, so that you already know before you go in. But yeah, again, like most things is
I think because I wanted to know as well about how you guys feel about showing up online, because I guess you're under pressure to be. Maybe you don't feel the pressure. Maybe the pushback against the pressure is what makes you guys you as well. But again, social media is a necessary evil, right? When you're promoting a business, I would imagine it's a slippery slope to just be able to fall into the fitness influencer realm and start preaching, which is kind of the issue I have. Right?
Yeah.
And we tread a fine line, I think, with the podcast about we don't want to be preachy about, go out and change something, or if you hate your job, just quit. But even though often the advice is, if you hate your job, just quit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you can fall into preachy fitness influencing, which is just, it's dangerous. It's a dangerous game because you become like everyone else, right?
Yeah. I think integrity matters the most. Like if you tell the truth, then you can't really go wrong with it. Like we will kind of, Dom takes care of all of the social media. I'm very lucky not to have responsibility, mostly because it would be about dinosaurs.
Yeah.
But I think like if you act as though you're somebody you're not, then social media is not going to be a place where people can actually find out about what you're going to do, and the disconnect when they actually come to see you is going to be what drives them away. Like you won't have client retention if they don't see you first. And whether that's their first impression when they walk in the door and you shake their hand, or it's what they see online when they're like trying to swat up before they get there. But yeah, I think that's our policy, right? It's just tell the truth. If you want to inspire people, do something that's inspiring. Like don't like go out there with the intention of it, because that kind of disqualifies you, right? Like if you're like, oh, here's the 3-calorie meal that I've met, like that's not inspiring. That's you're trying to influence somebody to something that doesn't exist. But like somebody just doing something impressive, and I think like people think that has to be something massive, but like let's say somebody who wouldn't ever be seen in a gym walks through the door. It's impressive, and 99% of people would look at that and be like, oh, that's inspiring.
I suppose that's what we try and do with our social media as well, is like we will tell stories of, like, it might not seem impressive to like some people, but here's X client who had never been to a gym before and he came to the gym today when he didn't want to. Like for someone who's never been in the gym, that is super inspiring, right? Or like a story of a client who could like walk up the stairs when they couldn't before. Again, to someone who can't walk up the stairs because they're out of shape, that's super inspiring.
It makes complete sense. I've seen some of the things you do where you're celebrating pull-ups, and it's just someone doing a body weight pull-up, whereas plenty of accounts would be like, I just did 100 pull-ups in a row. And you're like, well, good for you. But fucking who else can do that stuff,
right? It's like so unattainable that it's no longer inspiring.
It's the opposite, right?
It's demotivating.
Demotivating. That's it. And that's the risk. That's the line that people tread a lot of the time. Talk to me about balance. You both want balance, but in an industry where notoriously you're working unsociable hours. I don't know, maybe you've curated a world for yourself where that doesn't have to be the case. But again, my experience of PT was that you did everything in the morning, middle of the day was kind of bare. Maybe we're in a slightly different geography where that's not always the case. And evenings were busy as well. You said you've got a 19-month old daughter, and you've got a relationship and a business and a life and all of these things that you want to, a life, a life of dinosaur facts. But you have to keep this balance. And I would imagine as you get busier, you've got a risk of becoming a victim of your own success and saying yes all the time. How do you get that balance right? Are you good at that?
No. It's like anyone who's self-employed, isn't it? It does feel very hard to say no all the time. So I don't think I've got the balance right. I also appreciate there are probably periods where it's not going to be right as well. Like I think where I probably got it wrong in the past, and where I think most people do, is thinking that like a work-life balance is like a thing that will just be like consistent throughout a year. Like I've tried to look at it more of like, you will have like periods of the year where there will absolutely be no balance. Like if you're trying to build something at work, or half marathon coming up, right? Training for something like that, where like your balance will be so skewed to whatever you're focusing on, that other stuff will fall like to the wayside. But then knowing that like that isn't going to be the case for the entire year. So like, again, I've always struggled with where I think, right, like work's really busy and everything else is like falling apart. But then you should really think of it of like in like seasons almost, like if that's not too wanky to say, like
people have said it before.
Yeah, like where like you'll have periods where like you're going to be super busy, but then knowing that like, say for us, August sometimes is like a quiet month because people go away, where you're like, oh, if I can just get to that bit, then the balance changes. If that makes sense.
No, it does. It does. I talk about zooming out a lot. My brother, who I haven't mentioned on the podcast for a few episodes, so he can come back into it. He we at our live event that we did, he had a really lovely way of describing it, which is very similar. Like it is a pendulum. It's like, he didn't use this word, so I'm not doing it very not doing it justice the way he described it. But to say that sometimes it's just accepting that it's not equilibrium. It is 1 week, 1 month you're on one side of it, and then the next you could be on completely other. So zoom out and take things. I like seasons. Leanne from Flow State said seasons and talked to us about that. I didn't think it sounded wanky at the time.
From her, maybe not, because she's...
she was into it. No, it doesn't sound wanky. I think it's a phrase I've been introduced to, and I think it's important for people to frame it like that rather than get bogged down in the moment, because we're all under pressure to get work-life balance and to get it all the time. And that's what we say, don't work too hard because you need to draw back slightly. But, running your own stuff comes with sacrifice. What's your experience, Cassie?
I think similar. I think for me, where I have been in the game for such a long time, like I think PT specifically, because I don't really know any other industry, but like you have a time where you do have to pay your dues. And I think when you first are building a client base and you go out there on your own and you're self-employed, like you do have to say yes to everything, and you do work weird hours, and you have like gaps in your day that you just have to wait for your next client. And I think you do that so that you earn the right to put in boundaries. And that's kind of where I feel like I am now.
Right.
That's how I feel really good at it, to be fair.
I am, I think, like I have like a full diary, which is like, so I'm so lucky like to be able to say that. But because of that, like I'm quite comfortable with saying like these are the hours that I work, and, I put other things in the hours outside of that, so I'm not necessarily going to be able to I'm flexible to a degree, but
I know what you mean though. I think boundaries are like is super important. We talk about nearly every episode, but some people are better or worse at being able to do that. I think a lot of it comes with experience, and maybe having experienced the opposite end, which is never having boundaries, and then you realise I cannot continue living like this, or that's a route to burnout, and I need to start implementing some stuff.
Couldn't agree more.
So and again, balance when you've got kids is...
They're a good filter for it though, I think.
It is one of the best things to happen to make you prioritise and really understand what the hell is important.
Like,
recalibrate.
Just things like I'll catch myself sometimes like on my phone doing stuff, and it could be work related or not, and I'm thinking to myself like, how is this more important than like your daughter is just sitting there like playing with some bricks, for example. So like the amount of times I'll check myself and it'll make me stop doing that, or like times where I'd go home and do work, whereas now like I know if I go home there's no chance I'm going to get any done anyway, so to have that as a natural filter is incredible.
Again, really important, and it's easier said than done a lot of the time, but having that check, like my kids can now articulate fully that they want me off my phone, and there's nothing like the pang of guilt you get from being told to put your phone down, and you're like, oh my god, I didn't know that you would be able to say this one day, and actually looking at you disappointed. Look forward to that one. Right. What's the secret to a good business partnership, do you think?
So I don't think I've ever said this to you out loud, but I have a policy which I've stolen completely from my husband and his business partner. He's a very wise fellow. And his policy is basically whoever cares more about the thing wins. So like, let's say that we want to do something at the studio, and like I super want to do it and Dom super doesn't want to do it. If I want to do it more than he doesn't want to do it, I win. If he doesn't want to do it more than I want to do it, he wins. And I think that's the policy that we accidentally have always lived by.
Because we tried it before. Like I remember we've sat down and like tried to like divvy up responsibilities, but then we'd end up crossing over on the stuff that each of us were better at, and it just doesn't work. So we've like naturally found the things that we care more about as well, right? So things like the cleaning.
Who cares more about the cleaning?
Who do you think cares more about the cleaning? The things like that, like the thought of like for example, if we were to like divvy those responsibilities up, then I was like, all right, I should chip in with something like that. You wouldn't be able to sit down and relax whilst I was like using the wrong end of the mop.
Strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, equally, like if I was doing the like invoicing or like the social media. Yeah, it wouldn't be a good look. Yeah, so I'm basically the handyman and you're the...
But I like that. I think that's a good rule in general.
The way I look at it is I bring the people in, but you keep them there.
Oh, that's nice.
So like,
that's a nice thing to happen,
if it was left to, I say this, that you've been busy your entire career, so you'd be fine at bringing people in. But like, if it was left to me, like people would come in, and then it would just be like me sitting on the floor with like a squat rack that's like might be falling apart. So like, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, again, you complement each other in that way, right? You're both bringing different things to the party.
Yeah.
Okay. What advice would you give to someone about to go into business with someone else?
Ooh.
Going blind.
And I'm gonna ask, a bit of naivety.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Fuck around and find out.
That's a conversation that happens a lot. If you knew everything that was going to happen before you did it, would you do
it?
it?
Yeah. No, well. Oh God, that's a good question.
I think
I'd probably say, like, you would probably save a lot of time if you sat down and spoke about what you were actually looking to get from, whether that's going in together or like whatever you was doing. Just having that conversation. I think we had that conversation, but after a long time, because I feel like you will end up like pulling in different directions and getting frustrated. I'm not saying we did this, but like pulling in different directions, getting frustrated, but like you've got no reason to, because your partner has no idea what you're trying to do. You don't have any idea what they're going to do.
Does that require knowing the end goal, or does that just require what you want out of
work? Like it doesn't have to be
the...
like a thing like X amount of money, like X amount of locations. It's just like what you want from the business, whether that's a thing or something you don't want to do, for example.
Yeah, like your paths have to align, even if the end goal is slightly different.
Yeah.
But I think for us, we were lucky enough to like work together first. So we already knew, I trusted him with the keys to my business before it was both of us.
Okay.
So like I think that made a massive difference for both of us, because like you had the trust and I had the trust too. So like I think I don't know, maybe don't go in blind then, maybe get to know them.
Yeah. Give them the keys for a bit.
Give them the keys for a bit, see what happens. Fuck around and find out.
I think you can go on your own experience of going into business with the people that you do, and that's a nice way to do it. You had like a bit of a warmer intro into that potential partnership than you would. And I guess how many of us are going into business with people that we don't know anything about?
Sure.
We should know something about the people that we're going to put our trust and join that path together in as well. But thank you. It's really lovely to hear of your own experience, how that came together, and how you complement each other as well. What's next for Studio Athletica? Don't know why I struggle with that so much. I can pronounce THs, but yeah, what's next for the studio?
We've got some exciting things in the pipeline.
Yeah, so probably the thing that you've brought to the table recently, right? I think is probably the biggest one, which goes into like both of our experiences in the industry. So
we are looking over the next couple of years to open a PT academy.
Amazing!
Yeah,
wow.
So we'll tell you what it's like to get into the industry a bit more.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, like we just like, I'm sure this is coming from your side more so. We always talk about like trying to find trainers, how hard it is to find coaches. And as you put it, like I said, if you can then be the person that is qualifying people, then you shouldn't have the problem any longer, right?
You've got your pick of some of the best ones that you're helping to mentor. But again, if you can, I would imagine the motivation for it, as well as having a nice pipeline of people that you can work with.
Sure.
But the dual motivation has to be that through your own experience of working in industry, you can help people, guide them, mentor them in the right way to ensure they've got the best skills to go out and get the jobs and have the career that they could have and get that fulfillment.
Yeah, it's a bit of a formative time, I think, for PT, where kind of online is now being invaded a little bit by AI. And intrapersonal skills are maybe not what they once were. Like I think it takes now for somebody to be taught how to interact with somebody in that way, make them feel a certain way, you know, and then on top of that, all of the knowledge that you need to be a decent coach, and not, you know, injure somebody or take them down the wrong path. So yeah, that's kind of, we would like to help the next generation give back a little bit.
I love that. I was really lucky to have some great mentors when I entered the industry.
Really?
Again, some of the behaviours you wouldn't necessarily say align with the fitness industry, but they were good characters. But you're so right. AI has now become this pervasive thing that means if you run an online business, again, trust. There's that layer now where we're looking at everything wondering, you know, is that a real person? Is a human being behind whatever programs might be being curated for you? But that interpersonal skills, I genuinely believe we're on the precipice of a movement to get back into face-to-face settings.
Yeah. Like the amount of people that say the same, like where they work. Yeah. Where they work, they don't interact with, like they'll come to us and say like, we're the only people they've spoke to all day. Like where they just don't see people and then they would just work from home. Yeah. It's crazy. Like the amount of people that do that compared to like 3, 4, even 5 years ago is crazy.
And if you'd asked me, I was a massive advocate for remote working through what I do. Like I work in recruitment, so to be able to access the whole pool of people throughout the country without having to find people that can commute into London, I thought it was great. I do think there are great elements to it.
For sure.
The challenge now is trying to make that work. I'm not trying to shout for everyone to go back in the office 5 days a week, but we need human connection.
Yes, I agree.
So you're completely right to identify that is maybe a skill that's being eroded by online training. I think is fair. So I can't wait to see that. Like I think that's amazing and it's needed. And it is. I still have so many good memories about my time in industry. Yeah. And maybe if I'd had better mentorship or better coaching and better inspirations or aspirational figures around me, I might have stayed in it. But I think it's lovely that you two are kind of shining a light for that. So I think it's brilliant. I wish you the best of luck with it.
Thank you so much.
Do you want to play a game?
Yeah.
Always.
I love it when there's no pause. Okay.
Always.
Right, okay. We're going to play, I might change this title in post, the blame game. Okay. So basically what I'm going to do, I'm going to ask a question and each of you have to either point at yourself if the answer is you, or point at Cassie or Dom if the answer is the other person. I really don't want you to think about it too much. It has to be quick. Good game's a quick game.
Nice.
Or vice versa. So I'm going to go through these and then I'm going to end with something that requires you to say something. But for now, just point. So yourself or the other person. Are you ready?
Yes.
There's no prize.
Oh.
I know. You need some jeopody, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay. There might be a forfeit.
Might
be a forfeit, but there's no prize. Okay. Who's most likely to cancel leg day?
Oh.
Gotta be quick, guys. Come on.
Is it
let's
me?
go. That's it.
Oh,
it looks like it's you. It looks like it's you.
Yeah.
You're agreeing on that one.
Sorry.
Is it true though?
Is it obvious?
Don't worry, we're only getting tools, it's all good. Who spends the most money on gym gear?
Oh, do you think? Yeah.
I don't know.
For sure.
You're pointing at you. Oh, right. Okay. So that's fair.
You
are
got really
in agreement with it.
That's what I'm saying.
I've got shorts with a hole in them. Yeah,
but it's through dark.
Who's most likely to become a fitness influencer?
Yeah.
Okay. I think we all knew that was going that way. Who's most likely to survive on a desert island?
You think me?
No.
Oh, you're pointing to me? Yeah, absolutely not me.
You agree? Okay, right. That's all good. Who's most likely to be late? Really? But agreeing on all of these so far.
Yeah,
okay.
This is good.
Who's most competitive?
Oh, I think me.
Well,
yeah.
Do you think?
I'd say yes, but you are secretly competitive. So basically, we have a challenge once a year that is boys versus girls.
I saw the step count, wasn't it? Was it step count?
Meters
traveled.
So this does bring out the worst in both of us. So,
I saw the stories getting spiky. I liked it.
Yeah.
You popped up on a story.
I did.
Yeah. That's how much you care.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. So it's getting
in my influencer era for 1 month only.
Who drinks the most coffee?
Oh God. Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Okay. Who's most likely to miscount reps?
God, both of us. Yeah.
You can.
Yeah.
That's a
we
draw,
both can't
right?
count.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's most likely to get defensive over feedback?
Ooh. Yeah, go on. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're both pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, probably me.
Dom could have voted for himself, but he didn't.
No. I'll bite at that later.
we won't dwell on that. Who's most likely to be doing burpees at 70?
Neither of us.
Do you like burpees?
No, we are anti-burpee. Burpee. Yeah, we are anti-burpee.
Yeah,
so
but
no burpees in
for
program.
anyone.
Is that
Yeah, we're
an option?
out of that one.
No burpees. Okay.
No burpees.
Okay. Who gets most nervous when business is quiet?
Ooh, I reckon I would say me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're nearly there, guys. It's a penultimate question. Who thinks they're more organised than they actually are? Okay, you're both saying each other. Okay. This is again a shit segment for anyone listening. Like I'm just agreeing. I'm trying to do my best, but just watch it on YouTube. Do us a favour. Okay. Closing question that you're going to actually have to answer this one. It's not a competition. Just have a little think. If the business stopped tomorrow, what's one thing that you'd miss about working together?
Oh,
go on, Dom. You go first.
One thing we'd miss about working together. Probably talking utter nonsense, and the fact we get away with it at work. Like sometimes we'll be in the studio, typically on a Friday when everyone's in, and we'll just look at each other and go like, "How are we at work?
Yeah.
Like,
how's this a job?
Yeah, how is this a job?
Yeah.
Like,
How have we
just
done
in
this?
between. Just again, we've spoke about concominson and dinosaurs already. So yeah, I would go,
Brilliant.
just the utter nonsense.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that being silly, like being able to be silly as an adult is such a rare gift. I think so many people take themselves so seriously, and to be like genuinely able to be yourself around your colleagues, and particularly your business partner is like gold dust to me.
Yeah, like sometimes we'll say about doing something, and we're like, oh, should we start putting hats on the wall? And we're like, yeah, right. Should we draw on the toilet? Yeah, okay. Why wouldn't we do that? Yeah. So just being able to like, we don't have a filter for each other. So as soon as someone says, should we just do this? We're like, yeah, we've got a water pistol in the gym. Like, why not? Like, just stuff like that. Yeah.
I love that. I think that's a great answer. Right, we've got a closing tradition on the podcast. It's my mum that leaves a voice note. She sends us in, so she's done this for you too as well. The quality's been all right last few episodes. I feel like she's up to game. I threatened to replace her. It sounds nasty. But my 7-year-old son is really chomping at the bit. He really wants to get in on the questions, but it's still mum for the time being.
Hi, Dom and Cassie. I love the idea of your gyms. I personally find gyms a bit intimidating, so this sounds a great idea. What would be the 3 exercises that you would consider the three that could actually keep us all fit or maintain our fitness? Thanks very much.
It's a great question.
It's a wonderful question. So immediately burpees.
Yeah.
Don't get mum doing burpees. She won't get back up
Clean
again.
and jerk.
Yeah.
No, I think that one of the things I would recommend to anybody from birth onwards is a bodyweight squat, because you want to be able to get up off the toilet any age. So for me, that is number 1.
Yeah. I will go more typical personal trainer answering. I would go a trap bar deadlift. I know that's like a big barrier to entry. I just feel like it's a big bang for your buck.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What we'll do, we'll pop up an image of what a trap bar deadlift looks like. Because I know what that looks like. Some people might not know.
You feel pretty hardcore.
It looks very cool.
Yeah.
What we'll do, we'll take Tom to the gym. Can we come to the gym?
Yeah.
That would be a great
film
segment.
Tom do
Absolutely.
Great segment.
Yes.
Great, yeah.
God.
We'll show you why we hate burpees.
Yeah.
So we just need one more.
Trap bar deadlift.
I would probably chuck in like a TRX or a ring row.
Yeah.
Again, just like for functionality, like being able to physically pull your own body weight upwards.
Yeah.
Is a really good thing to be able to do.
Which is in line with the question. Vanity's not really coming into these answers, which is a good thing, and aligned with what you're
bicep curls.
About. Bicep curls. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, so we've got trap bar deadlift, TRX row, and bodyweight squat.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much. It has been a genuine honour. Like, honestly, this has been a pleasure. I hope you've had a lovely experience.
It's been so much fun.
Yeah.
And I could speak to you for such a long time, but I just wish you the best of luck in the PT Academy. Like, having sat here and learned how much you give a shit I just can't see it being anything else than a success. So thank you so much. You smashed
thank
it.
you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Well done.
When we finish meetings, we have our own tradition.
Yeah. Would you like to get involved?
Yes.
Hands in.
What do we say?
Sorry about us. We just do this and then go
Go
up.
team.
That's
Hey, okay, brilliant, lovely, well done. Smashed it. Smashed it.